really know what's going on over there other than everybody's dumb.
The instant you step out of line, you say something that they don't like and they don't like you personally, they're going to use all those pre-existing laws and they're going to use it on you.
Woman exposed her male genitalia to women and underage girls. That's what happened.
It's pure propaganda and it's super cringe, by the way. It's super cringe.
Report.com. We are here. We're both terminally ill, it seems. You're at a protest, it looks like.
Yeah, I think this is the Texas Supreme Court, or maybe this, I don't know. But yeah, it's great here. A lot of fat chicks and a lot of screaming.
It's in you to give Gatorade or Supreme Court. I'm not sure which one is which. We're hopefully going to be joined by Christian O'Brien, even though he's a depressed man and he may not make it for those reasons. I'm just assuming, but no, it's not our fault.
The black pill.
He doesn't make it. Black pill, very much so. On the docket today, Eric, gender pronouns in the Navy, cross-dressing rappers. No coincidence there. We'll get to that. Stephen Colbert, of course, and then some good old rioting.
Good old-fashioned rioting, yeah.
Let's get to that first, since it's most topical. You sent me this article. There's some good Roe v. Wade rioting here.
Yeah, in Arizona, of course.
Arizona, your currently home state.
Yeah.
It caused criminal damage. And who could have predicted this? When AOC is out there, Maxine Waters is out there. I'm sure Elizabeth Warren is out there having a beer. Who else would be out there?
I don't know. Maybe Cory Booker.
Maybe, what's his name? The guy who says storm the Capitol.
Who said that?
The FBI informant guy. Rioting after a monumental Ray Epps. Rioting after a monumental Supreme Court abortion ruling caused significant criminal damage to the Arizona state capitol. Let's take a look at some of this. There we go. This cool guy. He's really rioting.
Yeah.
Oh, no surprise here.
Oh, it's like they're trying to be memes.
I mean, you'll notice a lot of similarities. Young girls who probably haven't had this conversation flesh before to get to an inevitable end of, reasonable, no matter what side it's on, reasonable dialogue. Big fat girls who just want to be angry, and the men who want to love them. She's an adoption advocate, this old lady.
That says abortion. That said abortion.
No, I thought it said adoption.
No.
Very different. It's good that an old lady's an abortion advocate. The mobs of people who were dispersed by Arizona state troopers used tear gas, created a direct threat to the Senate, which is in session time, and prompted occupants of the building to seek cover. So what did they want them to do, Eric? They're not the Supreme Court. It's the state capitol where state representatives go. What am I missing here?
Yeah, well, they don't know what they want, and we've seen this year after year. They don't know what they want. Like we saw that clip of a Leroy Press interview, who was like, "Well, nothing has changed, and we have to keep fighting. It doesn't matter that Derek Chauvin is in jail. They don't. There is no. Basically, they want the look. I know. Okay, this is hyperbolic, but they basically want the right to kill the kid until he gets to kindergarten or something crazy like that. And in that article, there's a funny part near the bottom where it says that because the Democratic Party will obviously flip this on its head, and now they're angry at how the cops reacted, just like every other time. So no matter how many times you poke the bear, as soon as the bear swipes once, they're in the wrong. And that is the problem with this two-tier justice system that I'm always, I guess, harping about, is that they're like, well, we want to get, they're like, basically, I mean, you can read down a little bit, but basically they say, well, we want to, we denounce any violence, and we're looking forward to this investigation to justify what law enforcement did. It's like, there's people outside. They were trying to break into the building. They tear gassed them. Like, no matter what happens, it's always going to be the cops' fault. And look, I get it. The cops are in a lot of cases going to bat for the corrupt establishment, and they, they're the enforcement arm of this corruption. But dude, they were just protecting the building when these rabid abortion people are outside trying to break down the doors. So it's just funny to watch them, no matter what happens, always twist this into something. Because only a couple of weeks ago, we okay, maybe more than a couple of weeks ago, but we've been seeing for a year now, basically, that the cops were mishandling people and kicking people out of restaurants. So, dude, we even remember 2 years ago when cops were actually kneeling with protesters. So the cops, these people don't even realize that the cops are actually working for them. But this is the backwards world that we live in.
Yeah, that in the article they're talking about how silly it is that right winger media and all these people are calling it an insurrection. They don't even get like the irony here is that like even if you don't even go in and cause any damage, even though they had already caused a lot of damage in the Arizona state Senate there, calling it an insurrection is extremely hyperbolic, and they don't get the irony there. We'll get into Stephen Colbert later, who doesn't get the irony, or he does and just can't admit it for legal reasons. But the main problem I saw from this week was, of course, a massive misunderstanding what this actually is. Even the president of these United States, as you might say, of the 13 colonies, doesn't understand or chooses not to relay the truth about what happened. He says that you've lost a fundamental right. That's a lie. He says it's overthrowing the Constitution. That's a lie. And he says he's taken away, or they've taken away a snap right for people. I believe it was 3 things that he mentioned there, none of which are true. It's not in the Constitution. He hasn't taken the right away from people because it was never a right. And it doesn't, in a snap decision, make it illegal. It makes it to the states, which some might argue, well, smart people might argue, is a better thing. Why is it a better thing? Because Texans aren't going to agree with Californians on what to do. Floridians aren't going to agree with Wyomings.
I don't know.
Or Oregonians on what to do. And that's how it should be. I mean, they're acting like it's becoming illegal, and it's just not. It's just like, they think that it's in the Constitution, probably, so they think that it just automatically makes it illegal because 2 days earlier, they announced that you can't infringe on somebody's constitutional rights to have a firearm in New York State, which, from my understanding, every time this gets challenged for constitutional carry or concealed weapons, it loses, as in the state loses, and they end up having to go by the Constitution. Oh, what a world where you actually have a Constitution. Cry me a gosh darn river, Eric Butler. I live in a country where it's like, well, if we determine that it's an emergency, you don't have any rights. You can't travel. You can't go to work. Your business gets shut down. You have to go to a hotel, or in Australia's case, a confinement camp with barbed wire on the fences. What else can't you do? You can't go to
defend
work.
yourself.
You can't defend yourself. You can't travel, but that's not in our Bill of Rights or Constitution anyways. My point is, you should be thankful that you live in a country where there are certain rights that can't be taken away from you, or else they would have been already. So if you want to live in a country where it depends on who's in power to take your rights away, then just move to Canada, because right now you can have Justin Trudeau take all your rights away, and then when a conservative comes into power, they can take other rights that you don't, that they don't like away, and nothing ever goes back. I mean, I can't remember the last thing that got overturned in Canada. We just get more censorship, more gun control, and everything, no matter who's in power. So Americans should be thanking the fact that, oh, no matter what my state says, there are things that the government will say, no, you can't overpower people on that, like free speech, like gun rights. Abortion was never in the Constitution. So if your state decides that they want to make laws around it, the Constitution has now, put that in place where they can make their own laws around it. Whereas before, what if Republicans having the Supreme Court, which they do right now, they were just like, oh, we can make it an outright ban. Like how the Democrat Supreme Court made it so that they can't ban it. Like, I don't understand how people can't see that it goes both ways. If Republicans wanted to, they could have just, made it a ban instead of an unban. I know that gets confusing, but they could have just swung it the opposite way if they wanted to. But no, they have to, and I'm no Republican, don't get me wrong, but they had to be, the adults in the room and be like, listen, this ruling was never properly done. It didn't make any sense. I'm sure a lot of people don't know that Roe v. Wade was based on a lie of a woman who claimed that she was raped by black men. Tell me how you feel about that on Monday morning, protesters. But
And she also
and
didn't she come out as like pro-life now? I could be wrong. You could fact check that, but like the woman
she
that
swung. I think she died, and I think she swung her opinion on her deathbed to something else
oh, okay.
twice. And then you can look up the fact of where Planned Parenthood comes from, and I just don't think people understand, one, the ruling, and two, how lucky they have to have a government that's just like, oh, you can't actually, create laws that restrict people's states' rights, and you actually can't create laws that disrupt people's constitutional rights. And I bet you, is there any other country in the world that has this, Eric? I don't think so. Maybe some newly bred European country like Bulgaria or Croatia or something. I'm not familiar. Having said that, I don't know how old Bulgaria is. I shouldn't say that.
Well, I think
Croatia.
To your point about like this being a two-way street, that's the one thing they hate so much. And that's why we talk about this two-tier justice system. That's the one thing, is like they don't want it to go both ways. They literally just want their way all the time. We see it with everything from the transgenders to Rona to this, everything. And another thing that you brought up is that most people don't understand the ruling, which is true and on purpose. That's why I mean, is it Grabian or Media Research Center or something that has they have these compilations of Democrats and media personalities, but I repeat myself, just flat out lying, which leads me to the point that I brought up before we started here, is that Twitter is pushing lies directly to people's inboxes. So you don't even have to be on Twitter to get a little hyperbole from Twitter that's meant to, make people angry. And that's the whole point. Like to send a mass email to Twitter users, to my personal Twitter account that I literally don't even remember the password to, but I still get emails for about women being jailed for miscarriages. That is completely, look, we both know that that's not, it's impossible that that's exactly what's happening, especially with this woman's mugshot. I'm sure she's just an angel and she's never did anything wrong. I'm sure she has never hurt a fly. But the point is, they want people angry because this is now the issue. So all of the failures of Joe Biden's presidency, whether it's the gas prices, inflation, border crisis, food shortages, baby formula, all that stuff is now basically out the window. And this is what they're going to be counting on people to vote for. Look at the mean, scary, and there's another thing too, that they're still, I think it was a Stephanie Rule, or I don't know, some other mainstream personality. Oh, Mayor Libby Schaff of Oakland, California. I should have sent this to you, but she posted onto her Instagram that this decision is the epitome of white supremacy, and it's like,
with two black people on the Supreme Court,
and it's like,
and at least one Hispanic woman.
Yeah, so they fuel this fire, because this is now to be honest with you, I don't even know why they need to anger these people so much, because we both know that they're cheaters, so they don't even really need to get votes. They're just going to bring them in the middle of the night anyways. But this is what it's all about, is making sure that people are angry, and that these NPC, robots who they don't even know why they're angry. They don't know what the rule means, but this is going to help them. And you've seen it all already with Joe Biden and a couple other people, like, oh, abortion is on the ballot this November. And it's like, all right, so this is what it's all been for. And that's outside of the leak, right? We saw the leak that many people thought was an attempt to get some of the judges scared and change their decision. And then it finally comes out, and now they're saying, well, this is your reason to get out and vote. No matter how awful I'm doing on everything, we're going to manipulate you into believing that a big, scary, right-wing, misogynist, white supremacist Supreme Court justice is going to stop you from killing your baby, even though we both know that in New York and California, to be specific, there's probably going to be more abortions than ever. They love this stuff. They're going to go so extreme. And they're I think it was DC Drano. Last point here is that he posted a little meme or whatever, a little tweet, or what's the new one now? A Getter or a Truth. I don't know. That
The truth.
that
No.
the great irony here is that Democrats in Democratic cities are going to burn down their own cities, their own home in states where abortion doesn't even change. So that's how controlled they've been. So it's quite disappointing, honestly.
Yeah, and you mentioned about the compilation of politicians talking about their different opinions back then. Joe Biden, I believe it was 2011. Obama, Hillary Clinton, all against abortion. And I just brought up one for Justin Trudeau, of course. This is from 2011. Now I'm getting guff, interesting use of the word, from the other side because I said I don't like abortion. Does anyone who's pro-choice, as I am, really like abortion? Now, that was almost 11 years ago. And the answer to the question is apparently, yes, they really do like abortion. So Justin Trudeau, at the age of 30-something, I think he's in his mid-40s right now, disagreed with Justin Trudeau now. Does he actually? Probably not. I think like a lot of people who aren't completely against abortion, who have like a time limit on it, would say the old safe, legal, and rare thing. And I think that's probably what Justin Trudeau's stance used to be before he became a demonic person. And I know we like to throw that around these days, but it's a meme, a bit of a meme. We like to meme around, as John Doyle says. And it just goes to show you, like, all these adults, like Joe Biden, from like 60 to 70 years old, all of a sudden his opinion on it has changed. Hillary Clinton from 3,000 to 3,500 years old, et cetera, as she travels through time. And Barack Obama, of course. I think if you take Barack Obama's presidency and you line it up with the world leaders of today, specifically Canada, US, Australia, UK, New Zealand, he's conservative. Now, is that to say that he wouldn't change with the wind now? Of course he would. But it's just funny to compare how people were leftists and they're like, Obama's the best. And if he had the same stances now, he'd be a monster. Maybe I should do a video about that, Eric.
Yeah,
Butler.
he would be an absolute monster. And this kind of reminds me of that old Family Guy episode where Stewie's like, "Oh, Brian, don't worry. One day you're gonna find a woman who loves abortion as much as you do." And it's like I mean, it's just it's just the tribal nature, bro. They can't they can't climb out of it. And just like was it last week? I forget. Like they have to do these things basically because Donald Trump broke them. Like you can love
Yeah.
or hate him, but Donald Trump, you sue me, people won't like this, but if it weren't for Donald Trump, nobody would be celebrating Juneteenth. He tried to have a rally on June 19th, and all of a sudden Juneteenth is the biggest holiday in the world.
That's right.
And this is very similar. It's like when there's that clip of him floating around saying, well, if I get 2 or 3 justices on there, then I predict that Roe v. Wade will be overturned. And they can't, because they've been, again, this is a man who was on 15 seasons of The Apprentice, one of the top rated shows. But as soon as he comes down the escalator, the media funded by I don't know exactly how the incestuous, like the situation works, who's paying who, what sort of backdoor deals are going on, but they have manipulated these people into not even being able to, they can't keep one logical, like one train of thought. And that's what we see with the transgender stuff. Like for the last year, transgender, and now that's gone, woman's right to choose. So
it's funny how quickly they realize that only women can have kids when they need to make a point about it. Now we move on to the Navy. Eric Butler, who has the worst promo video ever, and we'll just let you watch a bit of it with the subtitles. So you might not be able to tell from this video, but it's horrible acting for pronouns, and we're here to talk about pronouns. I guess we don't.
Can we not use the sound, or are we going to get striked or something?
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I could download it or I could play it, but why don't I just down? Do you really want it? You need it, Eric?
no. I saw it. I actually watched it because I was like, this can't be real, but it is.
It's just bad acting, and they're saying how it's a signal of acceptance and respect. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Like, we know this about the Navy, that they're not the most steadfast group of individuals anymore, with their transgender admiral. But it goes to show you, I was talking about this earlier this week, that this stuff is still being pummeled in. Like, just how, what was it, white rage and everything from last year had to be pummeled in. He wants to, if there's such a thing, I want to know about it.
Yeah.
They still have to pummel it in. And I promise you, nobody cares about this in the military. I promise you, at least when I was in it, that none of this stuff ever came up, but nobody was ever offended by pronoun use. Nor is there going to be more than like 50 people in the entire military who's transgender and or demanding that you use their proper pronouns. It's probably more likely to happen in the supply chain portion of the military, because they don't have to have as much physical activity beyond basic training. But I digress, and I would say that it's stuff that they need to force in, because if they want the future voting blocks to submit to their rule, they need to be all in on all the ideologies that can ruin, the other side's chances at winning. Because if you can convince an entire population that, of course, you have pronouns, of course we have to respect everybody's gender identity, then anybody who goes against that is going to seem like a sick individual from the 50s who's telling people to go when to go in the kitchen. You know what I mean? I've been watching a lot of Mad Men. So it's like it has to be pummeled through the institutions, or else, like, there's places that people are fighting back, but there's places where they can't fight back because it's all top down in the military and comes right from the government, and all they have to do is say, hey, put this in there, and they don't have a choice.
It's insane. And there's one part of that video where she says something along the lines of, well, I was at a barbecue this weekend, and can you believe that somebody like, who really takes this into their personal life? Like, I mean, like a genuine question, like, do people really sit around at a 4th of July or Father's Day or a Mother's Day brunch or something and start talking about pronouns? Because there's that point at the end of the video where she's like, and one person objected, one person disagreed. And it's like, so you're at a crazy person barbecue and there's one sane person there who thinks this is nonsense, and you're upset by that. And to your point about how many people this is actually going to, like, yeah, they're weaseling this in, they're wedging this in at all costs. Like, it's the same thing with the brand new category that the swimming federation or whatever has. Okay, so now you have an open category. Same thing with that marathon runner in San Francisco a couple of weeks ago. So you have this brand new category, and are you really expecting? I guess they are. They're expecting even more people now to come out and say, "Yeah, me too, me too." Like, I'm trans too. Like,
right?
What, bro? You guys, it's gone completely off the deep end. And Tulsi Gabbard went viral last week for going on Fox News. Oh my word! Even though Fox News is pushing the same propaganda, but the Democrats hate her because she's an agent of Russia, and she talks to Tucker Carlson. And she said what we're all saying is that the left is at this point completely denying reality, and not only denying reality, but demanding that you do it too. And once it gets up into the ranks of the military, the Navy, or the Marines, no, not the Marines, not yet. But actually, they did have propaganda though, didn't they? With the rainbow bullets on the helmet. Anyways, that's a different subject. But they are force feeding this to people who, I mean, what's really the end goal? Because I can't imagine if this gets all the way to the end, then those same people are going to be useless to even help the people in power. Like, if it really if it really hit the fan and we actually had to do something, then these mentally unstable people are not going to be able to defend you either. So I'm not exactly sure what, I mean, maybe they have their own secret level of actual sane people. I don't know, bro. It's too confusing. It's absolutely too confusing. And reality is gone, bro. It's completely lost, and it's sad.
Well, it's probably one of those deals where they make you sit down and watch a video, and then you do like a little quiz afterwards. What did you learn? That you shouldn't misgender somebody. And then everybody rolls their eyes and is done with it at the end of the day. But then it could be abused if somebody was like, hey, you didn't do my pronouns, bro. My pronouns are Cobra and Tiger, bro. You didn't use them. Cobra
And
Tiger, son.
and I've mentioned this before, but it's just creepy how fast this has happened. Because as I always say, I went to college in San Francisco, where a lot of this stuff is born, like San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, whatever, maybe a little bit in LA. But it wasn't, dude, in 2010, it wasn't like this. And now it's like, yeah, there was gay guys and drag queens, and there was no kids around the drag queens. It was just a fun thing that weird gay guys did at night. But now it's been completely upended to the point where it's just complete. It's a complete 180 where kids are supposed to go to drag shows, and everybody is supposed to capitulate to this weird ideology. And it's like, this happened in just about a decade, maybe later. Because I feel like it was.
Did you see?
Hmm?
I was gonna say, did you see one of the drag queens got caught with child PR0N?
I did not see that.
Yeah, I don't want to set off any censors, but is a big fat black guy drag queen who was just recently doing a show in front of small children.
Do you know what city by chance?
No, I think I can look this up though.
I did see a drag queen though. That other drag queen that went viral for basically being sane and saying that it wasn't for kids. Did you see that one? It's an older clip, but it went viral recently.
Oh yeah, the chubby one.
Mm-hmm. Which they all tend
Is this
to.
fake news though? Man charged for child porn didn't work for Drag Queen Story Hour. The head of Drag Queen Story Hour was arrested for child pornography, is the claim. Now I'm getting hit with
Demonetized.
Central Pennsylvania drag queen activist charged with 25. So let's go to this story. The police say, yeah, this guy. Yeah, I don't know. There's something I like about doing this on my phone. It's very 2022. Bryce Williams was an HIV/AIDS prevention advocate and community organizer who was planning to begin work with Glow Harrisburg Center for LG times 8 Youth. When Penn Live interviewed him in June 2021, he also performed as a drag queen known as Anastasia Diamond. He was charged June 23, 2022 with 25 counts of possessing, underage prawn. And now, so let's see what the debunk from AP says. False. A man who was arrested on charges last year had previously run a separate organization. I keep getting hit with spam on Associated Press page. Misleading rhetoric in recent months has targeted drag story time. But he never worked for Drag Queen Story Hour, nor did he help plan its events, according to the group's executive director. So it was actually a separate. So that's the debunk. It was a separate drag queen nonprofit. It was a separate organization, not the official Drag Queen Story Hour.
Yeah, that's what they do. They'll find this is what they'll do is like with the okay. They'll find one little thing.
I'll do another one. This is from BillingsGazette.com. Claim the head of Drag Queen Story Hour was arrested for, as mentioned. The man who was arrested on these charges last year previously ran an organization that acted as a non-profit fiscal sponsor. So it wasn't actually the head of it, Eric, of Drag Queen Storytime. It was actually just a different drag queen who was a sponsor of Drag Queen Storytime. The differences are monumental here.
Yeah, so
how
it's
can
all
you
on the
be
level.
such a bigot?
Yeah,
that's right. It's all fine now.
And this is what they do, right? So when my Instagram account got demonetized last week for a meme from from 2 or 3 weeks ago, early in June, because it was a lizard person meme saying,
"Oh, right,
yeah." And then
we're all at the party.
Yeah, exactly. They're at the party, and it says, and then we told them that there's a new thing called sudden adult death syndrome, and they fact checked it on my story, not on my page where it's permanent, but on the story where it lives for 24 hours. They said, it's not new. This is not new. So that's the only thing is like, so, all right, so you're telling me it's not new. Fine. It has nothing to do with the shots or whatever. But the stories keep piling up. The swimmer who faints in the pool, a 25-year-old basketball player. I mean, it doesn't really add up. And so they demonetized the account because of a lizard person meme. And what's even more infuriating about this is that they never told me why I was on the edge to begin with. So I was getting this little notification for weeks saying your account is at risk of being demonetized. It's at risk, but it never told me why. It didn't say this post, this meme.
You got to get warned.
It just one day it popped up and said your account is at risk, but they didn't flag a certain post. They didn't tell me, oh, you did misinformation, you did medical. I think what happened was they can see the content and they're like, no, this is. So if I made one reel calling out Democrats, that was the one that I think put me on the edge. But if I would have made that exact same statement, but at the end I would have said, and that's why I don't trust Republicans, it would have been fine. Now, I can't prove that. I have no way to prove it. But this is what's happening with the fact checks. Well, no, this person wasn't involved with drag queen Storytime TM.
We have to take this down.
Yeah. They were involved with drag queen story hour, which is much different from drag queen story time. It's like, dude, you guys, you continue to make yourself. It's like when we look at this protest footage from all around the country because of this Roe v. Wade thing. It's like you guys are literally fueling the stereotypes. This fat chick with purple green hair, glasses, nose ring, a drag queen, a big fat drag queen who's caught with unsavory material. It's like you guys are literally playing into every single thing, and then when you get called out on it, they say, well, that's just one instant. No, it's not. It's like, dude, we can see you. We can look right at you.
I think we need to check out if David Icke has a monetized Instagram as the godfather of lizard people, and then maybe we'll see some poetic justice there. Tyga is a rapper, and so is YG. And Tyga is like the most successful man on OnlyFans, I believe.
Wait, is that true? Did you just make that up? Is that real?
He is. It was which part real? He does have an OnlyFans. I'm pretty sure I've read that somewhere. I mean, what famous? You name me a famous guy that's got OnlyFans.
I got nothing.
I don't know either. Exactly. So they went as white chicks for the new music video that they're doing, and we'll show a video in a second. Just in time for the 18th anniversary, as if that's a notable amount of time. But it's actually just in time for drag month, Pride month. I don't think there's any mistake here. I think it was here's a bag full of money, dress up as women for Pride month, and you will get praise from people who you don't even support and people that don't support you. And yeah, I think that's what's happening. Eric, I actually honestly think this is the old black man wear a dress thing, and here's your money. Do you have any opinion on this?
I forgot, to be honest with you, I forgot about the black man wear a dress thing, which has been happening, and there's been a lot of guys calling that out for years now. But
Chappelle said they asked him and he wouldn't do it.
Yeah, and and that was a long time ago, right? It was ages ago. But I think what also is interesting about this is we know, and I'm gonna say it. I know it's been beat to death, but if two white guys were to dress up as black chicks, it would just be, the world would implode. It just wouldn't go down like that. So they have the privilege here. They can make fun of whoever. Now, maybe the transgender lobby will come out against this. I don't know if they've gotten any backlash on this, but I know that it's okay to, obviously it's okay to make fun of white people, but if I can't even who's a white rapper, like if I want to say Mac Miller, R.I.P. He's been dead for a decade or something.
Jack Harlow
Yeah.
and Eminem
Yeah.
together. I think they could probably get away with it if it was
I
like
don't
Post
think they
Malone or
could.
something. You don't think so?
I don't think they could. I don't think they
What
could.
is Eminem dressed up as? He's dressed up as a Mexican guy before, with a sombrero. I'm the lead singer of my band. I get all the girls who take off their underpants.
I don't remember that. No.
Wow, D12. Where's your musical?
D12. I mean,
Interest?
I guess I should be more well versed in D12, seeing as how they are from Detroit. But
Yeah, you should. But in any event, yes, you're probably right. Justin Bieber and Michael Bublé, some as black women. I don't know.
I don't think it would work, bro. I don't think it would work. No. Do you
Justin
you really
Timberlake?
think that if
At a
two
different time.
oh yeah, in 2002, maybe. But now I don't think that's gonna fly, bro. And again, I'm actually surprised that the transgender lobby is not angry at this. And maybe it's because they're black.
No, they're celebrating it, Eric. Did you see how many women marching? There was at least 2 that I saw throwing around the N bobs on their signs over the week or over the last couple days.
Wait, you mean like on Twitter? I saw the one.
I saw one on an actual sign. I saw the tweet too. An actual sign that says "Women are the N words of the world." Same thing. Can't have abortion in some states. Slavery. And also entire world. That doesn't make any sense either.
I did not see that, but I saw there was that one. I think it was like an older lady who is calling out Clarence Thomas, which is also very funny because I saw on my personal Instagram account, the one that is at no risk of being demonetized or taken down because I don't even like. It's just all photos. I think my personal Instagram account is like what Instagram was made for. To like, if something catches your eye and you take a nice photo, that's where you post it. So I don't even put words on there, just emojis. But I'm seeing some people from my personal Instagram account, quote unquote friends from San Francisco, who are really they're really quite angry. And I saw one guy, and I couldn't help myself. I don't like to get into these arguments, especially on the personal account, but he put onto his story, "This country sucks and F old white men." And I'm like, do you even know anything? Like, bro,
do you know who's on the Supreme Court?
Yeah, do you know who's on the
guy
Supreme
who
Court?
wrote the attached item to it?
And his reply was, well, I'm paraphrasing here, but he basically said, "Well, you know what I mean. It's different." It's like he's like, well, Clarence Thomas, he works with all those white people, so he's like become so. So what you're saying is that people are different, right? So you're acknowledging that he is different from other black people, but that logic doesn't really hold up because you're pretending that all white people are the same, but you can acknowledge that he's different from most black people, apparently, but it won't work the other way. You know what I'm saying? So these people are they've lost it. Uh-oh, I lost you.
To blow the spot up. Woman is the N world of. I still have you.
Okay, all right. No,
still with you, Eric.
You're freezing a little bit. You're slowing down.
Okay. Well, I'm going to blow your mind here. This is apparently in reference to a song by Yoko Ono and John Lennon
from '72.
So it has been used before as a reference, and now because I clicked an article from 2011 where a girl was holding this sign. So apparently it's been going on for 50 years, almost to the T. Wild claim.
Wow.
We'll go through this.
This
you
is news
to
me. This is news to me. I have not heard of this. I feel woman.
Go ahead, Eric.
You're allowed. I can't do this. Okay. I wish I could hear the song so I know like what her voice. Woman is the nigger of the world. Yes, she is. Think about it. Woman is the nigger of the world. Think about it. Do something about it. Okay, let's read the first verse. I'll go with the first verse, and we're gonna call it there.
This is a black man saying this, everyone. Just so you're aware.
We make her paint her face and dance. If she won't be a slave, we say that she don't love us. If she's real, we say she's trying to be a man. While putting her down, we pretend that she's above us. Oh, this is very interesting. I have learned something today. A saxophone solo
again.
But I'd venture to say that we've done a complete 180.
Guitar
mean,
solo.
think about this, bro. In
We'll
New
have
York,
this song for next week, everybody.
look, I'm black, right? Okay, but
Agree.
I think we have done a maybe not a full 180, but think about what we saw, bro. It's not. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. Think about all the looting and rioting that happened, and nobody sees consequences. I mean, quite literally, they even the ones that got caught were Kamala Harris was trying to bail them out. Um, Charges were
Mm-hmm.
dropped. Even Gavin Newsom, when he was talking about some of the problems in California, he said that there was a gang problem, and then he apologized for saying the word gang in reference to the gangsters. So
It's like
everybody's walking
when
on
Phil
eggshells.
Jackson. Remember when Phil Jackson called LeBron's people a posse, and LeBron was like, "That reminds me of the usage of the term in like 1958." You can't say that. He wasn't just saying a group of you and your friends. Phil Jackson, who coached the Chicago Bulls with Rodman, Pippen, and Jordan for 10 years.
Yeah. And then, of course, Pippen came out many years later after winning 5 championships, or because Pippen wasn't there for all of them, was he? Maybe he was. 6
I
championships.
think
I
he
don't know.
missed like the first one.
He might have missed the first one, yeah. So Pippen comes out and says, "Yeah, Phil Jackson is a racist because he let Tony Kukoc take the final shot in the year that Michael was out. So, and when Michael went to play baseball, Tony Kukoc got to take the final shot. They still lost the game, and 25 or 30 years later, Scottie Pippen believes that's racist. And what's even funnier about it is that Scottie Pippen was really just trying to sell some. I think he was selling whiskey or some sort of like new snack brand that he came out with, something like that. So it's funny to watch these people put anything they can. So, and this is why I think that Tyga and YG are able to get away with this, but Jack Harlow and Eminem definitely aren't going to get away with this, bro. Like that's just, I could be wrong, and we'll never know. There's no way to prove it, but I don't think. Look, put it this way. And this really grinds my gears. All right, this one really gets to me because I love this show, the second best show behind Seinfeld. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and Hulu removed like 4 or 5 episodes from the platform after George Floyd died because they were doing
Which ones?
blackface.
Oh,
They the lethal where they recreate Lethal Weapon and then exactly. It's hilarious. Exactly.
those are so good.
It's so funny. And somebody at Hulu said, if we get rid of these obviously comical, satirical, it wasn't like they were out there like, this is what black people are like. It's a joke on them. They are the worst people in the world. It's very meta show. If if anybody has actually watched more than one episode, it's very self-deprecating. And Hulu thought, well, we're gonna stop the racism. This George Floyd stuff. This is all caused by Rob McElhenney and Charlie, and It's Always Sunny, and Dee, who dressed up like a Latina woman or something. And she also did Asian. She also did Irish. So they really run the gamut, right? Like they have the stereotypical Irish fighting Irish thing, and he's got the red hair. So they did all of this.
Well, that's the show that they're all idiots.
Exactly. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is things like that lead me to believe that dressing up as a white woman or even kind of looking like his ex-wife or whatever, Tyga and Kylie, whatever, is not going to go the other way. It's just none of this is a two-way street as far as the establishment is concerned.
Didn't they also do the Seinfeld one where 2 of them played Jerry Seinfeld?
Yes. So funny.
Yes,
so
that's good
funny.
too.
It's so funny.
Last week we talked about Stephen Colbert and Capitol Riots 8.8, I'll call them now. But he called it first-degree puppetry. He really ran the course for them. I'll read a little bit for you. Stephen Colbert addresses recent arrests of his staff. Let's see if we can blow that up a bit here. Nope, I'm doing it on the wrong screen here. There we go. He addressed last week the production members who were caught and charged with being in an unauthorized area with unauthorizedopinions.com of the U.S. Capitol during last week. During Monday Night's Late Show, Colbert downplayed the arrest as a very professional interaction between the staff and cautious Capitol police officers. And of course, he downplayed it, talked about Triumph the Insult Comic Dog. Everybody was professional. Everyone was calm. My staffers were detained, processed, and released. A very unpleasant experience for my staff. Now, and there is Triumph. Now, Eric, they went in. This is all the stuff he's leaving out. They went in, they got kicked out, and they came back. And they were wandering around the floors where they weren't supposed to. And how is this? Like, he just brushes it off as nothing, but like, they would have been arrested, which they were, if they did nothing wrong. If they weren't trespassing, they wouldn't have been kicked out both times. Like, I don't understand how you gotta, how you side with this. After they finished their interviews, my staffers were doing some last-minute puppetry and jokey make-ups in the hallway when Triumph and my folks were approached and detained by Capitol Police. Because you're not supposed to be there. Like, I don't understand, like, how he can freak out about everything, every little thing that somebody else does, but his own staff.
He did the Muppet Show. We recall that. He literally did a Muppet Show. So what were they doing? They were going back for more material? What were they? Does anybody have an answer to that? Did they say, well, we were just like, what was your excuse?
He said they were just doing stuff with like Triumph the Insult Comic Dog, trying to get interviews with people inside the Capitol building. But they were already the part he leaves out is that they're already kicked out earlier in the day and they were snuck back in. That's the part that he leaves out, that they were already kicked out and then they went back in when they weren't supposed to. So best case scenario, they just were like, oh, I guess it's not a big deal if we just go in and finish shooting stuff. But if we're to believe that going into the Capitol at all, granted without rioting beforehand, is this monumental offense, then you can't just be going in there with camera crews, because that's what so many people are in jail and solitary confinement for, or they were. What's that? The one guy with Viking guy, Q Shaman, I believe is his name, and then that Baked Alaska guy who I'm not a fan of. All these people that were in there taking pictures of politicians' computer screens and stuff. That's the reason why they're getting arrested, is because it's sensitive material. You can't be just snooping through politicians' computers and stuff for sensitive materials, and then they just get off scot-free. Is there a possibility that it's just because they didn't really do anything wrong? Yes, but if you're going to tell me that they snuck back in, which the police said, and then of course Colbert says that it obscenely trivializes the service and courage of the Capitol Police that showed up on that terrible day. So it's okay when we go in, but when other people go in, it's obscene and terrible. If there was obviously there's levels to this, but you can't just be like, oh, it's perfectly, all we were doing was getting interviews. Well, I'm sorry to tell you that the vast majority of people that went into the Capitol on January 6th weren't doing any harm. It was the people who were pushing on the doors and trying to get in, and then the woman unfortunately got shot.
Yeah, and you said it. It's the bottom line is it's different when we do it. They have nothing else. They have nothing else to say. We'll bring a full circle to the beginning of the episode. It's like, this is the problem with the two-tier justice system. It's just different when we do it. We can do whatever we want. As soon as you even question it, then you are going to be deemed the extremist. And I'll state the obvious. If Tucker Carlson's team was in there, this would be a completely different story. Those people would be, they would be facing felony charges, and they would be in solitary confinement. And it would just be wall-to-wall coverage. CNN would be talking about how Tucker Carlson's planning? Yeah, exactly. So it's absolutely infuriating. And Colbert, we know that he obviously walks in lockstep with everything. We thought the little song and dance with the syringes was bad enough, and then they literally did the Muppet Show about January 6th, and all the buzzwords. Of course, insurrection and treason and all these
Nazi adjacent.
Yeah, all this stuff. And it's also funny how they really care about Mike Pence now. Because a year or two ago, Mike Pence, remember Ellen Page? She's
raging homophobe.
Yeah, she's on television, she's on late night TV crying, Mike Pence doesn't want me to get married. But now they're like, these guys tried to hang Mike Pence. They're so evil. We would never try to kill anybody. But you obviously, I mean, I'm not gonna blame. Actually, I you know what? I will blame the hyper the hyper partisan media for this guy somehow getting all the way to Virginia or DC or whatever from California with a gun and the rest of his kidnapping tools. These are the people that they're creating with the emails like I got from Twitter. Oh, look at this. A completely innocent woman was jailed because she had a miscarriage. Really, bro? Really? Is that really what happened? I don't think it is, but
That's right.
that's what they're trying to do is create those people. And on top of that, they can make normal people like me and you angry, and then when one person does something, like whether it's on social media or whether you go to a protest outside of Drag Queen Story Hour, then they can call you, of course, the extremist. Like, perfect example, I don't know if you remember this really quick. There is from a couple years ago, back during the Summer of Love, this the black girl, a black girl in New York City with a bunch of protesters marching down the street, and they stop at this table, and the girl, like this, chubby, like black girl with braids or whatever, she pulls the beer off the guy's table, off the couple's table, an old white couple, drinks the beer, and now that in her mind, of course, that couple is no longer gonna be, they're not gonna like you. So now you can say, look, they're racist. Like, dude, you just drank the beer off their table. You're acting like a complete jerk, and now they don't like you. So you got what you wanted. You put it all in motion, and that's what they're doing. Is like they want you to hate them by doing awful things, and then just saying, well, they just don't like me because I'm black. It's like, no, it's because you stole my beer. I paid $16 for this beer at this while I'm sitting outside in New York because it's not safe for me to go inside in the middle of summer because of Rona, and you drink my beer. So of course now I'm mad at you, but you can say I'm mad at you simply because you're black. And that's what they do. It's all fake. It's all completely phony. And I think I always stay hopeful that some people are starting to see through it, and that's why we're getting so much censorship. Because when my account got demonetized, I was seeing Sav, right? Sav had, what'd she say, 5 posts in the last 2 weeks or something. They're just going, it's getting absolutely insane. And does she have a Twitter again? Is she back on Twitter or no? She probably can't be.
No, I think she got banned for like the 4th or 5th time. But what she needs to do is stop, telling everybody what her Twitter is, like on her own public pages. Like,
well, I mean, how can she get back on there? Is it like she got to use a VPN
you
or
can't. Like, if they find out who you are and they've banned you once, then they're going to keep banning you.
But say they, I mean, technically though, like technologically, like if she uses a VPN so she doesn't have the same IP address or whatever, can she get back on there and just use
I
a
think
different
that's what
image?
you got to do. I don't know
Okay.
Twitter, who we're currently streaming on. What do you
I mean,
guys say?
I would never do that. I don't even use Twitter, so sue me.
Oh, I'm suing you.
Yeah.
Suing you for all you've got, Jack. I'm out of steam here at Butler of TatumReport.com, reporting Opine on Instagram. And let's see if we got anything else. Shout out to the Getter audience, which is growing every single week. We like them. You like us. Shout out to everybody listening on Spotify, Apple, and Google. I'm dying. I might have to go take a nap. Eric, have sympathy pain for me, please. And we'll get to that song next week, your new favorite song by John Lennon and Yoko Ono. Any final thoughts?
No, that's it. The censorship is awful, and buy my book.
You heard him here. You heard it now.
Turn it up, Jordan.